So Chief, firstly, welcome back to you and the players. Firstly, how was the lockdown period for you?
Yeah, personally it was pretty quiet, the lockdown period naturally, so not too much you could do at home with the dog. So I think the dog enjoyed spending a bit of time with me, but look, overall, happy to get through the week, most importantly for the community that everything seemed to be okay in the end and we're able to contain the outbreak before it got too big. So nice that we're now able to start returning to things like sport and community sport and getting life back to somewhat normal.
Yeah, perfect. We returned to training last week. How have the players returned leading up to what is a big game against Glenelg this week?
Now, the boys were fantastic in their return. They did a little bit of training over the break that they could do within the legal requirements. So they were able to go out and do some running in their little bit of exercise each day, which was pleasing. And then they came back with great attitudes. So I think the lockdown week came at a great time for all the SNFL clubs. Obviously, we were just about to hit a split round anyway, so we're about to have a week off. Everyone was able to rest and recuperate. The players came back with a fantastic attitude.
Well, interested of defeating Glenelg last time. Does that give us confidence, knowing that if we play our brand, we can match them and ultimately win?
It does. Ultimately for us this year, it's been about playing our brand of footy for as long as possible. And what we saw in the Glenelg game was for a half, it was really competitive. And the second half, when a really, really good team challenged us, we found it a bit more difficult. So the test for us over the coming weeks, not just this week against Glenelg, is to play the way that we want to play for longer periods in games.
Yeah. The injury report listed on Tuesday a number of players as tests. I mean, could we see some guys potentially, return via the reserves of the league squad this week? Yeah,
we certainly will. We're at the point where we're about to get a couple of guys back right before the lockdown. So we had a number of guys who had short-term injuries that were probably only a week away, and then a couple of our longer-term injury players. So Henry Crawford returning from a back who hasn't played since round 5. Brad Ficken, who got injured in the very first trial game against the Crows, and Nick Pedro, who we've been really conservative with managing his concussion since round 8. So pleasing to start to see those guys come back into contention, and hopefully we'll see those three and a number of others this week.
Obviously, going back 3 weeks ago to our game against the Eagles, we competed really well, I thought, for 3 quarters. Our efficiency inside 50 let us down just a bit. Has that been a bit of a major factor in training in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, efficiency going forward has been a focus, and I think what we've seen over this year is we've had a real changing mix in our forward line. So losing Jackson Callow through the year did change up the mix a fair bit. We had Harry Boyd rucking when Michael Knoll was injured. So we're starting to get a consistent group forward of the ball, and now it's about our execution and our decision making as we go into our forward 50.
And can you give us a bit of an update on Matty Nutt? Obviously, just a bit of a, he did a bit of a hamstring injury against Port Adelaide. How's he going? How's he tracking?
Yeah, Nutty's injury was pretty serious with his hamstring, so he's going to be out for an extended period of time. This season has been extended by a couple of weeks now, so whether that buys him time or not, we'll wait and see. But at the moment, Matt's out for an indefinite period. He started his rehab program. He's doing a great job with that. And he's still a really important presence around our playing group as our captain. So he does his rehab work, he gets out to watch a bit of training where he can, and anything Matt says, the group really has high value on. So he's an important part of what we're doing going forward.
And just lastly, Rob, obviously some great news overnight that we'll be able to have some fans at the game, up to 3,000. How big, how good would it be for the confidence booster of the group to have, up to 3,000 or a good travelling Norwood contingent down to the Bay this week?
Yeah, it's enormous. Really pleased to hear that we'll be able to have up to 50% capacity in the games going forward at the moment. So we know that our Norwood fans travel everywhere. We know that we outnumber our opposition in most places we go. I expect to see nothing more when we go down to Glenelg this week. And then looking forward to a couple of really big home games to finish the season. So West Adelaide on the Friday night, and then 2 weeks after that, play the Crows in our last home game here at Cooper Stadium. So can't wait to have our supporters back. We're loud and vocal. We love the way they go about it.
Thanks, Rob.